Well, the president of the United States also told American women not to take Tylenol or give it to their kids. This is based on a theory that it causes autism somehow. And he also, in a social media post, the same one, called for the measles, mumps, and rubella shot to be broken up into 3 different shots. That was then endorsed by the acting CDC director. Are you concerned by this kind of suggestive linkage at the top of the CDC and from the White House?
Again, I'm a doctor, and so I'm going to go where the evidence takes me. And the best evidence is a study out of Sweden with 2 million children that found no causality, no association, if you will, between taking Tylenol in pregnancy and getting autism. And of course, that concerns me because there's going to be a mom out there. Again, I'm a doctor. I talk to patients in a room, and her child has autism. She took Tylenol for a high fever during pregnancy, and now she blames herself. That's just the way mamas think, and that's wrong. We don't want her to think that. The best evidence that there is no relationship. By the way, if you have a high fever during pregnancy, that may be a risk for autism. Now, of course, if you're pregnant, talk to your physician before you take anything. But point being, the best evidence is that there's no relationship between the two. And I don't want women putting themselves on a guilt trip when the best evidence shows not. By the way, the president has spoken out strongly in favor of immunizations in other cases. And I noted when he got his physical, he got the flu and COVID shots. So the president has demonstrated that he believes in immunization.
But that's why clarifying these statements, I think, is important since you interpret them differently. I wonder, do you regret your confirmation vote for Secretary Kennedy?
I smile because every reporter asked me that.
Well, because these questions run
forward.
right into a pledge that you extracted from him not to tinker with some of the structures that were set in place to have oversight of these vaccines and this process.
Yeah, so you live life forward. Again, you just do. Let the day's own troubles be sufficient for the day. And I'll credit the Secretary. He's brought attention to things like ultra-processed food that has frankly never received this sort of attention before. And people praise him for that. So he and I have publicly disagreed on some matters, but I strongly agree with him on others. And so, so that's how I'll answer your question.
That sounds like yes. If this is your final year in office, sir, will you make overhauling health care your top priority?
Well, I sure hope it's not my final year in office, but I've been thinking about health care for 30 years. Because when I worked in a public hospital for the uninsured, I saw the burden it could be on middle-income families who had middle income but couldn't afford the insurance or couldn't afford the health care. And so it's been my priority for 30 years. And I will continue to do that. And if there's a silver lining, in the shutdown we just had, the silver lining is now we are focused on how do we make health care more affordable for the American people. That should be our goal, not to be partisan one way or the other. How do we make it more affordable for fellow Americans? If we can accomplish that, I will feel like I've done my job.